So it's 1 o'clock. We had a few people coming in, so kind of waited for everybody. First off, I'd like to welcome everybody. I'm Keith Abraham, Parks and Recreation Director with the City of Ames. Been with the city for over 31 years. Started off as a recreation supervisor, then recreation superintendent, and I've been director since 2013. So first off, before we jump into Fitch, how many of you are loving this facility here? Well, go ahead, little woohoos, whoop it up. So yeah, isn't this a great facility? And thanks to Jenny and Deb and Beth for everything that they do. How many of you use the e-gym? Oh, good portion of you. How many how many of you have had lunch here before? Oh, yeah, that's just about everybody raises their hands. I haven't come here for lunch. It's good. Beth does a great job. So just want to talk about Fitch today, and I'm really not very often where I'm given presentations to standing room only, but I think everybody used up most of the seats except right up front. Nobody wanted to sit next to me. But I'm going to talk about Fitch. It's a long time coming. Municipal pool had been serving the community up at the high school for quite a long time, since the late 60s. That was taken down several years ago with the high school project, and then we were able to get the funding and the support to do the Fitch Family Indoor Aquatic Center. So a couple little things with it. So we actually started with probably around 2021, really getting serious about what do we need to do to have indoor aquatics. So we started having that conversation. City Council was on board, Parks and Recreation Commission was on board, city staff was on board. So a number of different things kind of happened. Funding obviously was a big component with it. So a good story for this project, when we started, the engineer's estimate was $32 million for this project. And because of that high cost and not sure that we would have all the funding, when we put this out to bid, we actually put it in two phases. We had a base bid, which is all the aquatics, the locker rooms, and so on. And then we did an alternate for the multi-purpose space in the walking area. So $32 million. When we put it out to bid, the city holds contract with 14 different contractors, but we had 14 different bid packages that we put out for bid. We had 79 contractors bid on those 14 packages, and bids came in almost $3 million less than what the engineer's estimate was, which was kind of unheard of. Usually with projects, we're looking the other way. How do we find more money? So when that happened, that was a good thing. Right now, we also, part of the project, we put aside just over $2 million for contingency. And as of today, we're less than $500,000 of that contingency is what we've used. We also set aside $1 million for contamination and remediation, because if anybody followed the site, there was a contamination in the northeast corner of that. So we didn't know what we were going to get into, so we set aside $1 million for that. I think of that $1 million, we have spent I think about $4,500, $4,500 out of that $1 million. And that was so we could buy a piece of equipment that would sense contamination. So any hole that we dug in the dirt, we took a sample, we tested it. We did not find, through the construction thus far, we have not found any contamination on the site when we tested. When we dug the pool basins, which we'll get into a little bit, the lap pool, we had to dig down 12, 13 feet. We did get groundwater coming through in that hole. We had that tested, no contamination. So that was really a pleasant surprise. But we have also done some other things with that too. Underneath the entire building, we put a vapor barrier, a thick vapor barrier, to prevent any contamination. Some of the contamination that was there at like 70 degrees, it turns into a vapor. So we wanted to make sure that that vapor does not have a way to get into the building. So underneath the entire building, we have this vapor barrier to keep that out. So those are a couple of I think, good things that we had. So right now, with all of that said, we're looking at the total project will be somewhere right around $27 million when we have it end, $5 million less, and we were able to get the multi-purpose room and the walking track or walking area with that as well. So a couple of good things. So some of this we've talked about, plans and specs. No, excuse me. We're in November of 23. We actually we got an architect on board at the end of 22. We also had a construction manager, which we have not used before. We had them hired at the end of 22. We started design in December of 22, and pretty much all of 23 was working on design. We put out for bid. We already talked about that a little bit with the bids due. Construction began in April of 24, and what we're looking at doing is a facility will be open. We don't have a specific date yet, but it will be open in April of this year. So a couple months, month and a half from now, we'll have the facility open. So with the building design, you're going to see a couple of different pictures on some of these slides. The top one is actually the rendering that the architect did for us as to what the facility was going to look like. The bottom picture is what it looks like right now. And obviously you can see there's still some glass that needs to be put in that southwest corner and so on, but pretty close to what it looks like. The high portion, the taller portion, you're going to hear me talk about natatorium. Natatorium is all the aquatic spaces. So that's the 3 pool basins. That's underneath that higher roof. And then the lower roof area is everything else. A multi-purpose room, walking area, locker rooms, check-in, mechanical, maintenance, all that kind of stuff is underneath the lower area. So this gives you a little picture, kind of a view from the southeast looking northwest. Again, you can see very similar to what the rendering is up on the top. And then this is from the north looking south from the parking lot, and that will be the main entrance is where you'll come in and you can see, and thank you to Fitch, the Fitch family, namesakes on the building for their generous donation. We've had other big donors, Mary Greeley Medical Center, Fairway Meat and Grocery, a number of different people. Altogether, we brought in about $9 million in donations of that 27 that we're gonna need. And thank you to Dan Culhane. If any of you know Dan, he went out and actually made a lot of those contacts with the business owners and individuals and groups to get those donations. So with the overview, this kind of gives you an aerial view of it. And I don't know if this will show up on here. It does. So again, main entrance right here. We got Elm Street over here, Oak, and then Lincoln Way down here. So we have 3 basins, wellness pool, and we'll show you more pictures of those, wellness pool. And each one of these basins, this one has a ramp to get in, but each basin does have a lift, an ADA compliant lift to help people get into the pool. There's one here, and there's one over here. This goes anywhere from about 42 inches, 3 feet of water, to 54 inches, 4.5 feet is the deep end. This pool will be 90-degree temperature, water temperature, 90 degrees. So it could be used for a number of different things. We could have, we might rent it for therapy. We'll have some aqua aerobics in there. We'll do our parent and child swim lessons. Some of those will be in there. And that actually will be cordoned off. There is a wall here, and you'll see, different pictures of that as well. This here is our zero depth entry. play structure, fairway fun zone, and then we have current channel for water walking or just kind of playing around. The water temperature in this is going to be 87 degrees. And then over here we have the lap pool. Again, we have a ramp coming in. We have different ladders. I should mention too on this one, zero depth entry. We have the lift. We also have a set of stairs right here also. Lap pool, 6 lanes, 25 yards. Water temperature, 84 degrees for this basin. So 84, 87, 90. And this is one thing when we were having conversation and public input when we were looking at the Healthy Life Center, that was one of the things that we really heard from the public is wanted different options. They didn't just one basin, one temperature and things, which is what municipal pool had. Different needs, different basins to meet those needs. We do have, oh, yep.
Can you tell me, like, the 90-degree pool, how does that pool size compare to the Mary Greenley therapy pool?
You know, I haven't been at the Mary Greeley pool lately, but I want to say, and maybe some of the pictures will give you a better feel, but I think this is larger than the Mary Greeley pool. Yeah. We're thinking if we have classes, we can easily get 20 people in here pretty easily. So then over here, we have some storage. We have a classroom, party room. Up here, we have our aquatics mechanical. We have our electrical, maintenance area and storage. Women's locker room. You'll come out to the deck right here. Then we have universal change rooms, family change room, whatever term you want to use. There's 6 of them, and I'll show you some pictures. These 4 are a little bit smaller. They do have, every one of them has a change table in it. Those 4 smaller ones have kid change tables. These 2 have adult size motorized change tables in them. One of them has a roll-in shower. So if you're in a mobility device, you could roll right into the shower if you're self-sufficient. And then the other one is just a little bit smaller. We have the men's locker room here. Then we have our lifeguard office, our aquatic manager office. We do have what we're calling an admin suite. Could be used for small meetings, storage, a break room for staff, things of that sort. We have our control desk, check-in area right here. Main entrance, and then lobby area, some seating. We'll have seating over here, a little stretching area. This is our multi-purpose area, fitness classes, meetings, other activities. And then we have the walking area. This was one thing that if we could have made it bigger, we would have, but again, very limited with the site size. So we weren't able really to do much with that. So if you're on the inside lane, I think it's 19 laps to a mile. If you're on the outside lane, it's 17 laps to a mile. So just to give you some perspective. So that kind of gives you an idea of what's in the facility. But now what we'll do is we'll kind of take you through and just show you there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, and you'll see this in this. A lot of these pictures were taken on Monday. So still working on, we're going to have polished concrete floors. But you can see the main entrance area, and then just to the right of the main entrance, we actually have 4 single-use restrooms as well, which will be handy. Anybody watching swim lessons or in fitness classes, could use those. Then this is, if you can take a look on the picture on the left, that's the rendering. Picture on the right, so very, very similar. When you're there, you can see kind of right here, that's going to be all glass, so you'll be able to look right into the natatorium and see what's happening in there. The check-in desk is not in that picture on the right, is not installed yet, should be installed Monday or Tuesday of next week. The floors will be done Friday, so you can see what that kind of looks like. So when you come in, if you're going down to want to get into the pool, you will need to come into the check-in desk, swipe your fob, pay a daily admission, and then walk down the hallway to the locker rooms. So the multi-purpose room, walking area, you can see that's kind of looking from the lobby area when you come in the door. One of the things that we did do is that space for the multi-purpose room, there are no, a lot of those walls are just steel studs and drywall. So in the future, we said, because the city council does want to pursue a rec center, which would have some gyms and maybe some multi-purpose space, an elevated walking track, maybe a turf area, some other things. So if we ever wanted to reconfigure this space, we could do it pretty easily if we wanted to. So this is just some pictures of the walking area. You can see on the left, that's the north end. There is a TV. You can see some cubbies right there. If you wanted to change for a class, put your shoes there. There's a little stretching area. And then to the right of that picture, there's glass, and there'll be some seats there as well. And then this is looking back towards the entry area on the right side. Multi-purpose room on the left, party rooms on the left. Yep.
What's the surface for the walking area? Is it concrete?
No. What it is, it's a, and I always forget the name of it, but it's a cushioned material. And actually, and you'll see this once we get pictures inside the multi-purpose room. The walking area and the floor in the multi-purpose room are the same. They're just different patterns. But it is cushiony. It's about, maybe 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch, thick. So it is something that you see in a number of things. It's the same flooring that we have up in like the multi-purpose room at the community center or in the hallway outside of that. Okay. So again, that's kind of the seating area I was just talking. You can see the restrooms in the background. If we go into the multi-purpose room, rendering on the left, and then you see the picture on the right. So very similar. This space does have a divider in the middle, so we can divide this room in two, have two classes, two activities going on at the same time, or we could have just something that's wide open. We could have a public input meeting, could have a meeting like this there. One of the things too in this room is we do have the capability to, we do still have a number of people that take classes virtually, fitness classes with us. So we do have the capability to stream live classes, so people could still have that opportunity. Then on the end of each of these rooms, on the north and the south, one of the things that we're doing is we have these storage rooms. So a lot of our equipment, if not all of our equipment, will be stored in these rooms. So if you come in, say for a kettlebell class or for something else, you'd come into the room, you'd go in one door of the storage room, walk by, grab your kettlebell, walk out the other door into the class. You'd have your class, and when you're done, you go back into the way you came. We'll have wipes there. You wipe down your kettlebell, put it back where you got it from, walk out, and you're on your way out the door. So we do have, that way if we do rent that space for anything else, we don't have to move a lot of equipment, which is what we want to do there. We have cubbies and shoe spaces here as well. Okay, the wet classroom, party room. We do certification classes, lifeguard training, WSI, which is water safety instructor, where they might be in the classroom, they might be in the pool, kind of going back and forth. So this is right next to the lap pool, so be able to come and go there. This room also has a divider, so we could have 2 birthday parties going on at the same time, or again, it could be used for small meetings if that were the case. So right now, it's being used as our construction manager has tables set up, and they're using it kind of as their office right now until we finish up the project. And then the control desk, all the pieces for the control desk are in here as well right now. So the admin suite kind of gives you an idea of what that will look like. Again, small meetings, We do have on the one end a small refrigerator, a microwave. Again, staff will probably use it as a break room or have lunch, so on, in there. This is the aquatic manager office. Glass on the left, that's so they have good view of the pool space, natatorium, what's happening. When I was there on Monday, they had just put a sealer on the deck, so I wasn't able to get to the lifeguard space. But it's similar, just has more lockers, half lockers for staff to put their stuff, when they're working. Okay. So this is the universal changing rooms and the corridor. So when you do come in, hallway, should say, is right up here. There are automatic door openers, so you push the button and you'll come in this way. You can go to any one of these rooms. Lockers are out in the hallway. That's where you can store your stuff. And then again, automatic door opener to get out to the pool deck. And then same way, door opener to get here and then out back to the hallway. So just some pictures of that. Again, the one on the left was the rendering that we had. On the right is what it looks like. And then, and this, just one of them, again, the rendering, and then with the table, motorized, and then, one of the pictures of the roll-in shower that we have. So locker room overview, you can see in the men's and the women's locker room are identical, just flip-flopped. So you come in, you do have lavatories, your urinals, sinks, then your locker space. In the men's and the women's locker room, the showers are all individual showers. So there will be a door here. There'll be a shower curtain there. So when you go in, you can close the door. There is a seat to sit down. There is also in the shower itself is a seat that folds down if you needed that as well. Okay, gives you a little idea of the locker rooms and things. And then, with the pool basins, kind of already showed or talked about that. One thing I guess I didn't talk about was the slide, and we'll show you pictures of that as well. So this is the wellness pool. That's the rendering on the left, and then that is the actual picture on the right-hand side. We're actually looking at starting to fill that basin Friday, and then the other basins will be filled next week, and then it'll take us time, get them all balanced and working just right, and then train our staff, and again, open in April. So this is the rec pool, and you can see what it looks like on the right-hand side. All the components for the play structure are laying inside the zero depth entry. Now, I should say one early on, we got questions about, we have the universal change rooms right here, and questions was, if the party rooms are over here, why didn't we put this rec pool over here and the lap pool over here? And our rationale for doing it the way we did is, with little ones, and I'm guessing a lot of you had little ones at one time, or grandkids. What happens is when you bring them out there, if you don't have their arm, when these doors open up, what do they want to do? They want to run for the water, right? So we really felt that it was best to have zero depth entry. And again, zero depth entry starts zero depth, and then it goes deeper. So we felt it was better for them to, if that happens, to run into this rather than to run into this and be in 42 inches of water. So that was our rationale with why we put the basins the way we did. And then the lap pool. So the lap pool, like I said, 6 lanes, 25 yards. We did get pushback right away when we were putting this design out, because municipal pool had 8, then you could say 9 lanes. Said, well, and people said, 6 lanes isn't going to be enough, because municipal pool has 8 lanes and they're always full. And one of the things that we mentioned is that, well, at municipal pool, a lot of times we would have only had an hour, 45 minutes, an hour 15, hour and a half, very limited time as to when we could offer lap swimming. Now, with this being our facility, we can have lap swimming starting at 5:30 in the morning, potentially to 8 o'clock at night, and throughout the day. So hopefully what will happen, in talking to these individuals over here early, even with the e-gym, kind of people come at different times. They find what works for them. Maybe it's at least busy time. So with that, the fact that we have opportunities to have lap swimming throughout the day, we felt 6 lanes was enough with it. Now, you don't see any diving board. You don't see any racing blocks, starting blocks. The idea was not for competitive. It was more for recreational. And the diving pool, somebody may say, or the diving board, somebody may say, well, why is this so deep? We do have the deep end of this pool is 9 feet deep. If we had a diving board, it would have had to have been 13 feet deep. But 9 feet, with it gives us the opportunity to have deep water aqua classes, but also when we're teaching swimming lessons, there are certain levels of swimming lessons that you have to teach diving off of the side. And to be able to do that, you need at least 9 feet of water to do it. So swimming lessons would be a big component of what we do. Slide area, you can see the stairs kind of look like they go up to nowhere, but they do go up, and there is a little slot, little hole that you kind of climb in. It's a body slide. You go down, you go outside, and then when you come back in, you come into the little run out, which is on the left-hand side. So most of your activity is outside of the building. And again, some people ask us, well, why are you doing that? Isn't it going to get cold? This is Iowa, winters are cold, all that kind of stuff. So really, they have these all over the place. And I've been in them further north than here, up in Wisconsin, Minnesota, and other places. And when you go down there, you're not spending that much time. The water's warm. It's really not a big deal. But what we did do is we actually almost have like a tube within a tube. We have the tube that you're sliding down. Then we have a layer of insulation. And then we have another tube outside of that. So that's how this was constructed. I will mention that one of the areas outside, most of everything is done outside except for this area in the southwest corner. What this will wind up being done is it will be a detention basin for stormwater. So a lot of the water off of the building will go to this basin. So this needs to get dug out, and then there will be kind of water type of plantings, taller grasses and things of that sort in there as well. I didn't mention this earlier when showing you pictures of the parking lot. Might have another one here later on, but with the parking lot, we actually are managing all the stormwater on site. So with the parking lot, we do have permeable pavers. Water will go through those. We have underground water storage, stormwater storage underneath the parking lot, and then eventually goes to a basin in the northwest corner. That captures a lot of, if not all of the parking lot water, and then the building water, like I said, will be captured in this detention pond. The maintenance area, this is looking from the north side of the building, looking forward. The doors south, the doors on the south end or on the far end of this picture actually lead into the wellness pool. And on the right-hand side, you have the electrical, and then the aquatics mechanical room as well. So aquatic mechanical room, a lot of stuff jammed in there. Beyond these panels, these are controlled VFDs, variable frequency drive motors. But beyond that is actually the pump pit. So all of our pumps are down there. And then to the left are surge tanks, which have heaters in them to heat the water. And then on the right side is all of our filters and other equipment. The electrical room, this has all of our electrical. This piece right here is a chiller. It's a piece of equipment to help cool, the facility. And then beyond the chiller, there are two large boilers as well. So this kind of gives you a little bit more of an idea of the parking, but I'll mention, so we have pavers here, and pavers here. So those are all permeable pavers, and then there's the water can go down, it runs through underground storage here, and then over here there is, like I mentioned, another basin. So this is just some of the landscaping on the outside. That's on the east side of the building. All right, so that was kind of an overview of all the pictures, what the facility looks like, where we're at, and so on. As far as the facility use, what we're doing is from Memorial Day to Labor Day, Furman Aquatic Center will be open. All right, open swim, all those kinds of things. Fitch will have some lap swimming in the morning, and we'll have swim lessons in the morning. So really the main use of Fitch in the summertime is going to be swim lessons, morning, and then we'll also have some evening lessons. But we will, like I mentioned, we will have some lap swim time in here or at Fitch as well. If Furman is closed, so say we know today the high is forecast to be 62 degrees, we're not going to open Furman. What we'll be able to do is say instead of Furman being open, we will have Fitch open for open swim, and then that's what we will do. If we open Furman for the day and then have low attendance and we have to close, we will not be opening Fitch, as just logistically that would be very difficult to get people over and things. So that's what's going to happen Memorial Day to Labor Day, roughly. Labor Day to Memorial Day, what we'll do is Fitch will be open, and it'll be open for lap swim, water walking, open swim. We'll have different activities, aqua aerobics. We'll have fitness classes there. Just a lot of different activities going on. Yep.
Is the walking track open Memorial Day to Labor Day?
If we are open for other things, so like swim lessons and things of that sort, the walking area would be open. Okay, so like with that, if we have lap swim starting at 5:30 a.m., somebody could come in and walk. If we have swim lessons open till noon, and actually we'll have a staff person there till 5, so the walking area probably will be open at least 5:30 to 5 on most days. Saturdays and Sundays, the facility will not be open. And the walking, I'll mention right now, the walking area, there is no cost to do that. So if you want to come in and you want to walk, you just tell the people, hey, I'm just walking, and you can go ahead and walk, and there is no cost for that. As far as daily admission rates, whether you're going to Furman or to Fitch, they're the same. And this is what we have had at Furman. So you can see the adult, 60 plus, youth, and then ISU students. As far as season passes, we're going to have 3 different season passes that will be available. You can purchase one for Furman Aquatic Center, you can purchase one for Fitch, or you can purchase one for both. And it'll go through, but if you buy the aquatic facilities pass, what that would be good is that would get you into Furman starting Memorial Day weekend, and it'll get you all through Furman, and then it would get you into Fitch all the way through or up to Memorial Day weekend of the following year. So that's kind of, so our aquatics facilities pass will basically go from Memorial Day to Memorial Day, is how that will work. And if you buy that aquatic facilities pass, you get a 15% discount off of the rates. So with those, what do those look like? Furman Aquatic Center, these are the same rates as what they were last year, and you can see what it is. And really how we did this is based on Furman Aquatic Center will be open for roughly 14 weeks. Fitch will be open for 38 weeks. So For Fitch, you can see for this what the passes are. Now we are moving. We used to have a family pass. What we're doing is we've changed it to a household pass because we realize that there are a lot of people. There's a lot of different arrangements, and not everybody is necessarily fits the definition of a family. But we may have boyfriend, girlfriend, and they both have kids, and they're all living together. Not necessarily a family, but a household. So you can buy a pass that way. In some cases, we get people coming in that say, we live with my kids, but my mom lives with us, or my dad lives with us. You can all be part of that household pass. Yep, Gene?
So do we get to pick which one we want to pay, the 300 or the 375?
Yeah, if you want to pay $355, we'll say thank you twice. But yep.
Do I understand it right that Fitch won't ever be open on Saturdays and Sundays?
Just in the summertime, unless we close Furman. So yeah, in the summertime, and again, it's one of those things that it's not ideal. But if you followed any of the aquatics, not only in Ames, but in across the nation, there's a real lifeguard shortage. We have done things, we have increased wages, we have done some things, and we're getting better. We're hoping that Fitch actually helps us, because right now, when we hire people to work at Furman, they work for us, they like it, but then they've got to find another job during the school year. And then sometimes they don't come back the following year. Now we can offer them employment year-round, and hopefully that will help with retention for us. At some point in the future, will we maybe have both facilities open? Possibly. But we have shared this with several times with the Parks and Recreation Commission, with City Council, talked with some of the donors, the Fitches. Again, not ideal, but they understand it. So, okay. And then if you buy the aquatic facilities pass, again, there's the prices. But again, if you get a 15% discount if you buy that pass with it. Yeah, that's a good question. All right, so the first one, that's what you were talking about. I thought you were talking about, do you pay the adult 16 and over, or the adult 60 plus? So no, the two. Sorry about that. So the first one listed is for residents, residents of Ames. If the second price is for non-residents. Now, with Fitch. Because the Story County Board of Supervisors, they gave $500,000 for capital to help build the facility. So we do have a 10-year agreement with them that Story County residents will pay the same as Ames residents for a period of 10 years. So if you don't live in Ames, but you live in Nevada or Maxwell or Huxley, you would get charged for that first column as a resident. What was that?
Fitch only.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, it'll be Fitch, or if you buy the aquatic facility pass, we'll give you that resident rate as well.
So the first one was the Furman
Say that again?
pass. The first slide was Furman.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So this slide was Furman, based on 14 weeks of activity.
Okay.
And some of you are taking pictures. Good idea. All right, the second one is Fitch, so based on 38 weeks. And then the aquatics facilities pass would get you swimming 52 years or 52 weeks of the year. Okay?
Can you buy a daily pass too?
Yes, we also will have punch passes, so you can get 12 punches for the price of 11. So we will have those. But again, you could also just pay a daily admission rate if you wanted to also. Yeah.
If we register for, like say, a water aerobics class and pay for that through the city, are we also having to do the admission cost, or is that included in the course fee?
No. So anytime, if you're just or if you're just going to a class, you pay that fee and you go to the class, you would not be able to use the rest of the facility. But you don't need to pay, to buy a pass or pay daily admission if you're just coming for a class. Yep, good question. Okay, and then also just want to mention, we do offer scholarships for season passes. We also have for programs and things of that sort. And what we do is we work with MICA, the Mid-Iowa Community Action, and if you meet their guidelines for subsidy, then what you do is they give you a paper. You bring it down when you buy your pass, and we give you a 50% discount off of that fee. So that is something that's available as well. And right now, what we're doing is we started a scholarship endowment. Right now, we have roughly about $700,000 in there. Our goal is to get to $1 million for the principal, and then what we want to do is just use the interest to fund scholarships, is what we're doing. So if anybody's interested to help us get to that $1 million goal, let me know. And I do have cards up here if you have any other questions, but that is something that we are working on as well. Hours of operation for Fitch, again, during the school year, that Labor Day to Memorial Day, pretty much we're going to have activities starting at 5:30 in the morning to 8 o'clock. And then rentals will be available. If you're renting want to rent a multi-purpose room, it could be different times of the day if we have it available. Pool operation or rentals, those would happen from like 8:15 to 9:30, 9:45. What was that?
Open on the weekends?
Okay. From Labor Day to Memorial Day, yes. Yep. And the hours will change a little bit. They won't be made quite as long, but we'll have a lot of hours on Saturdays and Sundays during the school year.
Do you have this information online yet?
No, we're still making some tweaks to things. Our goal is by March 1st, all of this information will be online, and you'll be able to start purchasing passes and things of that sort. One of the things that we're trying to finalize right now is what to do for this initial opening in April. So we're going to be open. We're not sure if we're going to open, April 5th, April 10th. We don't know what that date is yet, so we could be open, let's just say 6 weeks, maybe 7 weeks until Furman opens. So we're still trying to figure out what to do. Do we just say, hey, if you want to come, you buy punch passes? Or one of the things that we're talking about is if you buy an Aquatics facility pass, you get, April and May for free, or kind of as a bonus. So that's something that we're talking about. But all of this information we're hoping to have on the website and available by March 1st.
And is the website just say Fitch, or is Fitch and Furman all together?
There'll be an Aquatics page. So if you go to, probably the best thing, if you go to the City of Ames website, find Parks and Recreation, and then you can get it from there. But if you get to the city website, so if you put in, Fitch passes or Fitch, it'll get you there also. All right? Yeah.
So for late in swimming, is that going to be a first come, first serve? Are you going to, what are your thoughts? Can you sign up in advance for a time?
No, right now it'll be first come, first serve. And one of the changes that we are making, with this, it's not just going to be one person per lane. We'll have multiple people, per lane. So, and obviously if only 5 people show up, you can have all your own lane. But staff will help kind of make sure that people of like swimming abilities are getting into the same lanes and so on.
Well,
But it'll be
usually it's
first
like
come.
2 to a lane if you're sharing.
Yeah, it might even be as many as 3. It depends on who comes in, you know, because sometimes at Furman, like we'll have swim team members come in either from ISU or from other. Sometimes we can put 8 of those people in the same lane because they all swim about the same, but so it all depends a lot on ability.
Okay.
But that is something that will be different. Yep.
Warm water pool, do you do water walking there, or will that be available for people to come and water walk or not?
Yeah, so good question. We have the current channel if you wanted to walk in there. As far as the wellness pool, from 11 to 1, 1:30, 2 o'clock, I don't remember exactly the hours, but like at Furman right now, we have from 11 to 1, we have tot time, lap swimming, water walking. We're going to do similar, but it might be a longer, it might be 11 to 2 or 10:30 to 1:30. But during that time, we'll have the lap pool open, the current channel open, and right now what we're thinking is having the wellness pool open, and people could use that for whatever. Could water walk in that one. Maybe you want to just do some exercise, hang on to the side. Maybe you want to do some other types of things, kind of a self-directed fitness. So that's what we're thinking during that time that will be open. And there probably are other times too. I don't have everything memorized, but these are good questions because as we finalize everything, we'll be able to try to incorporate some things. Yep.
Can you bring your own equipment in, or will you have equipment like dumbbell things that you can use in the water?
We'll have that stuff there. Yep, the noodles and all those kinds of things. And we will, we haven't for a while. If you have any of you ever done BogaFit? No? Don't see anybody raising their hand. So BogaFit it's almost like it's inflatable, but it's a very stable, almost like a giant surfboard is what it is. And you can stand on it and you do different exercises in the water. So it helps you with balance and things. We used to do it up at Municipal Pool, but we haven't done it since Municipal Pool closed. So we'll have some of those classes and things. You guys are all laughing. I think all of you could do that. I have not yet.
Do you have enough staff available, or is that an issue?
Yeah, so right now we've been doing a lot of hiring. We actually started hiring in November of last year, and as of right now, I think we're looking pretty good. So if we have everything open, all basins open, the slide is open, we would need, I think it's 11 guards is what we would need at a time, compared to Furman, where we need 25 guards at a time. So, yep. Somebody else had a question over here?
Where will children be allowed? Which pool can the children go in?
Oh, say that one more time.
Children, where can the children, which pool? You have 3 pools, therapy, water walking, and a lap pool. Where can children go?
You could probably go in any one of them.
They can go in water walking?
Well, they wouldn't, like during like noon hour water walking, we usually have that for adults. But if they're during open swim, they'd be able to go into water walking. So, yeah. But otherwise, they can go into each of those. What was that? Correct. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Good question.
For the people who do aqua jogging, we go the width, not the length. Will you be able to accommodate us?
Not during lap swimming, because we will have lane lines, so you won't be able to do that. You would be able to do that in the wellness pool.
It won't be deep enough.
Wellness pool?
How deep is it?
It goes to 4.5 feet.
It's not deep enough.
You know?
Unless you're midget.
Yeah. Well, Oh, her question was, they be able to aqua jog crosswise on the pool, on the lap pool? And I said, during lap swimming, no, because we'll have lane lines, set up. It's not like at Furman where you just go and swim. Now, 4.5 feet is about that high.
We're doing it 4'9" now, and we're touching at a hotel pool, so
Yeah.
4.5 isn't deep enough.
Yeah, it's 54 inches, so, yeah. So, yeah, that one, I'll have to talk to staff and see if there's some opportunities for that, but, yep.
Is it set in stone that people can go from pool to pool to pool? I go to the Mary Greeley Center and there's limited number of people allowed due to the size. Is there somebody monitoring it, that there's not people coming and going and there's more than the 20 limit that you have?
Yeah, so when I say 20, that's what we're thinking for classes, so active activity and so on. Yeah, so with it, and I don't remember what exact capacities are of each of the pools, but we have staff there, and if it winds up getting to be unsafe or overcrowded, they will handle that situation at that time.
It's not set in stone that's 20 people there.
No, that's more for, we have an aqua class, we'll probably set the limit at 20. But, yeah, so if you're talking just if we're open for open swim or something, yeah, we could probably wind up have more than 20 people in there. But, okay? Is there other, yep, right here.
Are children allowed in lap lanes during lap swim time?
Okay, we'll probably follow the same rules that we have had at Furman, but I don't remember what those are.
Yeah, they are not at Furman until open swim time would open at 5.
Yeah,
And then they always kept 2 or 3 lanes separate for adults, no children,
yeah,
for
okay,
lap time.
yeah. I'll have to talk to staff on that one. Yeah. Okay, yep.
How is the water filtered or kept clean?
Yeah, so what we have is, at Furman, and just a comparison, so Furman, we have sand filters, and these things are huge. Filter, or the water goes through the sand, and that gets the things out. I want to say that they, I might not get this right, but let's just say it will filter out things, I forget what the microns are, but it captures maybe about 85% of things. What we did is we've gone with regenerative media filters, and they're a lot smaller. You guys will notice the difference when you walk into the pool. The water will be a lot clearer when you see it, because it gets a lot finer contaminants out of the water. So, and then we'll be using chlorine briquettes, and then CO2 will be to balance the pH. So that's what we'll be having. Interest in saline? Is that what you're?
Oh, I was just thinking sometimes you go into an indoor pool and the chlorine is overwhelming.
Yeah. So here's just a little chemistry lesson on that. So when you walk into a hotel and you say, wow, they've got a lot of chlorine, that's actually not the chlorine that you're smelling. What it is, it's called chloramines. And what chloramines are is you have chlorine in the water, and then the chlorine interacts with organic material. And when the chlorine and the organic material combine, what they do is they create what's called a chloramine. That gases off the water, and then once it gets to the surface, it gets out into the air, and that's what you're actually smelling, are the chloramines. So we have done some things with this facility to try to sweep those chloramines off of the surface of the water and then directly exit them out of the building, 100%. So we're hoping, I told our designers that if we have issues with chloramines, they're going to hear it from me, because we spend a lot of time talking about that. So that's just a little history lesson. But yeah, we don't want that. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the storm shelter situation in the
storm shelter.
Like if there was a tornado?
It probably, the locker rooms are gonna be
Are they certified as storm shelter space?
no, we don't, there's no space in there that's certified, storm shelter. But that would be I'll check that with the architects, but I don't think that's,
In the multipurpose room, is
no. I'll check on that.
surprised that's not code.
Yeah, yep, yep.
You talked about the fancy parking lot things. Are you gonna be generating this rain sources and the water such that they get used in the building?
No, that, it'll just all go to storm sewer and eventually over to Iowa Creek is what that water will be doing. We did talk about, could we use it for irrigation, or things, but we would have needed more space. And that just wasn't possible on the site.
So is the fancy parking lot, is it really fancy or is it just like the mall?
No, it's different because there are things that once the water goes through, there's kind of a filtration system that it goes through with the different layers and then gets down into these underground storage tanks and then eventually goes over to the storm sewer. So it's just it's a way to manage storm water on site. So because a lot of times what you'll see, if you see new developments and things of that sort, you see these ponds and everything. That's a way that they manage stormwater. And then sometimes, like golf courses, they'll have stormwater and they use that for irrigating their greens and so on. But we had to do it to be able to manage all the stormwater on site. So it's not, it's just a different way to do it.
And why did you expect to find really bad stuff? And you were happy that you didn't have to spend money on it, because that was just where the school was located. What kind of?
Oh, the contamination? So to the north side of North Second, way back when, there was a coal factory. And what they did is they burned coal to make coke, which they sold to steel manufacturers. One of the byproducts of that was called coal tar. And what did people do back in the day? They just threw basically out the back door. And so that wound up, and I can't, off the top of my head, I can't tell you what are all the chemicals, that are in there, but all of that, and then through groundwater and everything else started seeping through to other locations. And that's what, in that northeast corner, there's kind of a plume from the north kind of into the site. So we knew that, and that's why we've taken some of the precautions. But that's why if we did have issues when we were digging or found contamination in other areas, we may have had to take that soil off-site, replace it with different soil, those types of things. So Mimi probably could tell you all sorts of that kind of stuff. Yep,
Did you say that there's no charge to use the walking track?
correct.
So you just go in and you can walk around?
Yep. Yes.
So Keith, thank you for working so hard on this, first of all.
Hey, well, you're welcome.
But I wanted to, did I get it straight that Fitch is open only in the summer if Furman's totally closed for the day?
For open swim. Okay, we will have some lap swimming Monday through Friday mornings at Fitch, and then we'll have swim lessons in the morning and the evenings. So, but for open swim and those activities, that will all be at Furman. Okay, yeah, yep. All right, I think there might be, just as far as aquatic programs, we kind of shared a lot of these things. We'll be doing some adaptive swim and some specialty events. Talked about scholarships, fitness programs, group fitness, specialty. We actually, right now, we do a spinning class at the community center. Space only allows us to have 10 bikes. So we actually purchased 10 more. So we're gonna move that class over to Fitch, so we'll be able to have 20. Any of you do spinning right now, bicycling? Any of you have an interest in it? We had one. Maybe a couple of you. So look for those types of classes. We'll hopefully have more of those as well. And then other programming, youth classes, birthday parties, water volleyball, and so on. And you've already asked a whole bunch of questions, but I'm sure you might have more. So, and again, I'll be the first to tell you, this has been a huge undertaking. If you've ever done a project, it takes a lot of time. It's taken a lot of our staff time on top of everything else that our staff, has to do. But I tell you, once this is open, I think once you get set inside, I think you're really going to love this facility. We can't wait till it gets open, and we'll have and be patient with us. Some of it. We did a survey it was maybe about a year and a half ago. We did a survey, and we had over, I think, 2,400 responses, and we just asked questions about what would you like to see? What types of activities would you be involved with? So a lot of what we got from that survey has been used to kind of start with what we're doing right now. And this 2 months opening in April and May is really going to give us a lot of insight into how people want to use the facility. So then what we can do based on that, we can make changes for when we open again in September. So, but if you have any ideas, talk to our staff at the site, give me a call, shoot me an email. Like I said, I've got some business cards up here if you want information and things. So thank you so much for coming. And if you have any other questions, let me know. But hope to see you swimming.